Okay, so we're going to go into the Pacos. And you can see here, I have my trip number. Talking driver Eric Van Handel is on this, and I've got power unit 2. On the side of the screen over here, I'm going to try to get that zoomed in a little bit better. If you can't see it, what I have here is to close this and go back, view, and start. So again, if you want to make sure we're starting the right trip, we can press the view button. I'm going to choose this button out here. And it's telling me this is my Bell Brands, Fox Valley, Wood, and Thilmany's load. That's the load I want to start. So I'm going to go back to trip. And I can start the trip. I do want to note though, this arrow here on the side would not be there if we only had one trip in the system. That arrow is indicating that there are more trips available. So if I press this down arrow, now you see it change to an up arrow saying there's more trips available before it or trips after it. Again, the trips are going to be sent to the truck or in the order that they were sent to the truck, not necessarily in the order you need to do them in. So you need to make sure before you press the start button that you're starting the right trip. If we wanted to view this trip here, again, I'm just going to press the view button, and that's telling me that's my Bassett Mechanical Fox Valley Tool and Die trip, which is the one that I'm going to do next, not first. So I'm going to go back into trips. And you can see here it jumped back to the main trip. So be careful about this. I didn't really like the way that this handles, but because it brought us back to the main trip, and we have the down arrow to get to the one we were looking at, Bassett Mechanical. So I'm going to hit the up arrow. And again, it's just important that you verify the right trip number that you're starting. I'm going to press start, and it's just going to bring us back to the main screen, just like the last system did. So once we get back to the main screen, we can go back into Pacos now, and we can see that it's giving us our stops on the trip. Just like before, when we pressed the down arrow, it would show us our stops. So we have Bell Brands, Fox Valley, Wood, and Thilmany's. On the side of the screen here, we have one more button. What we had before was details. We can go into the trip here again. If we wanted to go into this trip, we could go into the trip here, and we have the ability to end that trip. So that's how we would get to the end if we needed to spot load a loaded trailer, or just end a trip that we started and we're not going to be actually doing, so we need to end it. I'm going to close the trip to get back to, brings me back to the main screen. I'll go back into Pacos here. Okay, so here's our arrive button. So again, we just hit the arrive just like we would have done before when we arrived that trip. But the one I want to note here is the route. So if we wanted to get a route to this location to our pickup, we've got that highlighted. Bell Brands is where we're headed to. We can just go ahead and press the route button here on the screen or off to the side. And once we press the route button, it will automatically bring us into the navigation. And navigation is going to then ask for the route and bring us our directions to that location. So it downloads the route and gets the new route. So that's how we would get routed to our pickup location. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get out of the navigation here. It's asking for the route right now. And I am going to just, again, go through those steps. So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to get back out of here to the main screen. I think to get back, we can use the home button on the top. Should bring us back to the home screen. It doesn't seem to be working. So we're going to go back to trip and then use this button here to close. That's a little bit of a strange way to have to get out of there, so I'm going to check in to see if there's a better answer for that. Okay, so we go to Pacos, we go to Bell Brands, we hit the arrive button when we arrive. The system basically does the same thing. The only difference now is that there's two things. First off, Nav & Go is going to ask us, would it like Nav & Go like us to route to our next delivery location at Fox Valley Wood Products? You can see when we started the trip, it didn't ask us if we had to wanted to be routed. We had to actually go back into the trip and have it routed for us. And then we didn't answer that, so it's not going to give us our route. If we would have hit yes, it would have routed us. And the other thing that happens is you can see that it did bring up the display. Nav & Go is trying to still bring up that other route, so I'm going to get out of there. It did bring up our pickup information. So again, these messages are basically the same as before. We can just close this and it will be in our inbox and we could fill it out later. Or we could go ahead and leave it on the screen, and when we come back we could go ahead and reply to this message. So if we want to reply to the message, I'll show you a little bit of difference here. We have It brings up our form to reply. You can see detention information trailer. If we just click on the detention information, it's going to give us the cursor and the ability to fill in that spot. We can bring up the keyboard and type in, 1 hour of detention. Again, keep that message short and sweet. If you go past 40 characters, you'll get a message back saying we couldn't interpret the message. The place that this is going to be placed in the database is only allowing 40 characters. So realistically, you wouldn't have to type more than a one or two liner here, or one liner here to explain what the situation is. So we're going to go ahead and close the thing. I'm not even going to have to skip through trailer and everything. I'm just going to go ahead and send in what I filled out. I can just hit send, and it will tell me my message has been sent. And I'm going to hit OK, so it knows I'm going. And it brings me back to here. And again, now that, it brought me back into the mail. So I'm going to go home, do my Pacos to depart that location. Again, Bell Brands is here. We just go ahead and depart. And it departed us, and now when we go back into Pacos, you can see that Bell Brands is now gone just like before, and we have Fox Valley Wood as our next stop. So I'll go ahead and arrive at Fox Valley Wood. When we arrive, it's going to do that Navigo thing. I'm going to go ahead and this time and say yes. I would like it to route me to Thilmany, so I say yes. And then it brings me to the message that I need to fill out. You can see here a little bit confusing, as the fact is that Navigo is trying to get the route for the next location while my form hasn't is kind of got pushed to the background. So I can let it do the routing. By the time I come back into the truck, the route will be downloaded and be ready to go. We go back to the form, and let's say I didn't have anything here again. I could just delete the form. So I'm going to use this button here to delete and throw that form away. Go back to the main screen again. Yes, I do want to permanently delete that. Back to the main screen, we go to Pacos. We have Fox Valley Wood up, and we're going to go ahead and depart that location. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same as the older system as far as the arrive and departs. It's just that navigation is asking us if we want to be routed to our next location, and that would be a choice. So you can just let it say no, and then you could also just have it. You could go route it yourself later on, again by just going to the Pacos and say we want to go to Thilmany's. We're on Thilmany's. We can just choose the route maybe later on, and then have the Navigo route us when we're ready for the route to be downloaded. Okay, so that's basically the trip sections with the integration of Navigo. It's a little bit quirky in the fact that when you're trying to arrive and it's asking you the messages, it keeps bringing you back into Navigo as she's downloading the route.